बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम नहमदुहु व नसल्लिहि अला रसूलिहिल करीम व अला आलिहि व अस्हाबिहि अजमईन अम्मा बाद. This is part 2 of the talk Do Not Look Down Upon a Sinner by Mufti Taqi Usmani Damat Barakatahum. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani Rahmatullah Alayh was a great Sufi and saint. It has been narrated that once he was praying Tahajjud Salah when a Noor, that is divine light, shone and the whole environment became bright with it. Then a voice came through that Noor, O Abdul Qadir, you have fulfilled the rights of our worship due towards you. Whatever acts of worship you have performed as yet are now sufficient. From today, you are not obligated to pray Salah, to fast. The obligations of all the acts of worship have been removed from you. On the surface, it seemed as if Allah Ta'ala was speaking through that Noor to him, that his acts of worship had been accepted to such a degree that he was under no obligation to perform any more ibadat. When Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani Rahmatullah Alayh saw and heard this, he immediately replied, Get away from me, Satan. Even the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was not freed from the obligation to continue to perform ibadat. And you are telling me that I have been freed from this obligation? Are you trying to deceive me? This was such a great deception. If the Shaykh had developed any arrogance in his heart about his ibadat, he could have slipped. But he was a great saint. He immediately understood that this message could not be from Allah Ta'ala, because if the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had not been excused from performing any more ibadat, how could any of his followers be excused from it? A short while after the Shaykh gave the above reply, another Noor brightened up and a voice came through it. O Abdul Qadir, your knowledge saved you today. Otherwise, I have misguided many pious people using this ruse. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani Rahmatullah Alayh replied, Get away from me, you condemned being. My knowledge did not save me from your deception. It is Allah Ta'ala who saved me. After narrating this story, Sheikh Abdul Wahab Shirani Rahmatullah Alayh says that Satan's second attack was much more dangerous than the first one. It is because any Muslim who has the basic knowledge of Deen can understand that when the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was not exempted from performing ibadat all his life, then there is no possibility of any other Muslim being exempted from them. However, the second attack was much more serious because many pious people have been deceived in that manner. There were many people who performed lots of ibadat, gained lots of religious knowledge, but at some point they became proud of their ibadat, their knowledge, and that's when their downfall started. That is why Hazrat Thanvi Rahmatullah Alayh said that to protect oneself from takabbur, a person should keep reminding himself of the great scholars, the great worshippers, the great saints, who, once they developed takabbur, completely lost their way. Therefore, get this arrogance out of your heart. If you are providing some service to Allah's deen, it does not mean that you start belittling Allah Ta'ala's subjects, that you start thinking of everyone else as belonging to hellfire. In a hadith, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that the person who says that everyone else has lost the right path is the one who has lost the right path. The person who does not see his own flaws but is busy finding the flaws of everyone else, is busy denigrating them, he is the one who is most misguided. So whenever you start feeling proud of your ibadat, your knowledge, your piety, your sadaqah, immediately turn towards Allah Ta'ala and say, O Allah Ta'ala, it was only because of the motivation you granted me that I was able to perform these good deeds. I thank you for it. It was not within my ability to do this. The true protection from Satan's tricks is only through turning towards Allah. Along with these, also reflect on your own weaknesses and flaws. Inshallah, the combination of these two attributes, turning towards Allah and being mindful of one's own weaknesses and sins, will protect a person from developing takabbur. Hazrat Thanvi Rahmatullah said that sometimes people go to the other extreme and develop excessive tawazu. Tawazu means humility. Tawazu is a great attribute, but it also has its boundaries. If it goes beyond those boundaries, then it also becomes harmful. This undue tawazu sometimes makes a person develop hopelessness. For example, sometimes you may have heard people saying things like, my salah is pointless. It's just like going through the motions. There's no khushu, that is humbleness of heart, or khuzu in it. This is also excessive tawazu. We should not say things like that. Rather, we should first thank Allah Ta'ala that He granted us the ability and the motivation to present ourselves in His court on a regular basis. There are so many people who are deprived of this great blessing. Then, why do you make such trivializing comments about your salah? Why do you show ungratefulness towards it? It is correct that our salah has many flaws in it, but those flaws are yours, and the tawfiq, the motivation, is His. So first express your gratitude towards Allah Ta'ala for granting you the motivation to pray salah, and then do istighfar, that is seeking forgiveness for your mistakes in it. Say to Allah Ta'ala, O Allah, you had granted me the motivation to pray salah, but I was unable to pray it as it was due towards me. Please forgive me for it. First express your gratefulness to Allah Ta'ala for giving you the motivation to pray salah, and then seek His forgiveness for not praying it properly. Do not say that your salah is pointless. It's not right to say such things. And when you keep seeking Allah Ta'ala's forgiveness for the mistakes you make in your salah, then the one who has granted you the motivation to pray it will also help you seek perfection in it, inshallah. Is there any human being who can claim that he has performed Allah Ta'ala's worship to the standard that is due towards him? We do not even count. Even the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who stood for so long in the Tahajjud Salah that his feet swelled up, is saying that I was unable to discharge the rights of your ibadah as were due towards me. When he is saying this, then our ibadat will be imperfect in every way. There is a saying in Arabic which means that I was unable to worship Allah Ta'ala to the level His worship was due towards me. I was unable to gain knowledge and understanding of Allah Ta'ala to the level His knowledge and understanding was due towards me. When the Holy Prophet ﷺ is saying this, then how can we worship Him to the standard His worship was due towards us? Our every act of worship will always be imperfect relative to Allah Ta'ala's greatness. But when He has permitted us to come to His court 5 times a day to prostrate in front of Him, then why should we think that He will not accept that prostration, that sajda? Why should we denigrate our ibadat and say that they are useless if we first thank Him for granting us the motivation to perform those acts of worship, and then beg Him to forgive us for the mistakes that we have made in performing these acts of worship? Then inshallah He will forgive us and accept those ibadat.